You are listening to an All Games Radio Network broadcast of AllGames.com.
Hi, this is Normie from Knuckleballer Radio and Zombie Cast, and you're listening to one of my favorite shows on the GeekyAntics Network. Don't forget to check out the rest of the gang over at GeekyAntics.net. Warning, there might be rants and food ahead and possibly inappropriate behavior. Don't tell anybody though.
Welcome, geeks, gamers, furries, and ninja robots. This is HorsePLAY Live. Today is Thursday, September 21st, and this is episode 197. Wow, we're 3 away from 200. It's kind of a big deal, right? Yes, episode 197 with HorsePLAY, and we're lazily titling this one. Time for an early Oktoberfest? It's a question. It's been a interesting time, a difficult time for many. Just the top of the show, might as well jump into it. Hurricane Irma and Maria recently, and then we have other things developing. Hopefully Maria's as bad as it's gonna get, but our thoughts and prayers go out to folks in the Caribbean, in particular Florida. The Caribbean got it the worst probably, because back to back, I mean, Jesus. Puerto Rico is already in a recession, and now you're talking about over $1 billion in damages. Fortunately, injuries and death toll was at a very minimum. That's always important, but the financial havoc these hurricanes wreaked. I think Maria, the most damaging, most potent hurricane since 1937 or something like that. It's crazy. And of course Mexico with that massive earthquake. I forget how many million they said it claimed, something crazy like that. Let me look it up. You know, I don't even wanna. I know I saw something about millions, and I think, oof. You know, I'm not gonna look it up because bad news sucks, especially at the top of the show. But just wanted to put that out there so we could move on to happier things and try to, you know, make the best out of the adversity, these challenging times. But I'm your bald bear lizard host, Yogizilla, and tonight it's likely just us, you and I. And we'll be here to talk about all things geeky, random, and silly. A lot of life stuff lately. It's kind of been our tone as of late. But we are doing this show live on Twitch.tv /GeekyAntics. Again, that's Twitch.tv /GeekyAntics. And you can join us every Thursday, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, 4 a.m. GMT /BT. And earlier in the day, we do HorsePLAY Replay, our reruns, at 5 p.m. Eastern over at allgames.com. So make sure you check them out over there and support our friends and family on that side of the fence. There's not even a fence. We're just one big happy family. And they definitely got a lot more stuff going on that we do over the GeekyAntics Network these days. And, you know, maybe that's my fault. You know, when I'm not actively involved with things, stuff doesn't get done, you know. You gotta hold hands and kiss babies and all that good stuff. I don't know. It's kind of like being a politician, except a lot less lying, I would like to think. Now, this show, if you're new, is primarily a comedy show. And we do talk a lot about video games, but not the only thing we're about. It's definitely NSFW, not safe for work. Definitely not safe for kids. So parents, you may want to keep your youngins away from us. Well, we've been pretty tame as of late, though. So, just a little disclaimer: proceed at your own risk. But give us a chance and enjoy the fun that's ahead. Usually this time I would introduce our hosts. We have a cast of rotating hosts, all of which have been pretty busy as of late. I keep saying as of late. It's my go-to now. And it's just that we get guest hosts from other podcasts and other stream channels and stuff of the sorts. But not too much right now. It's just a busy time. People back in school or work's busy, the demands of family life. I get it. It's hard to juggle all that stuff. But if you want to join us in the live chat, you can join us over at GeekyAntics.net/Discord. And Discord is basically a free platform for chatting. And soon we'll be doing video chat as well. But audio chat's fantastic. It's a much smaller footprint than Skype. Much better for podcasting, in my opinion. Skype is just a resource hog, and if you have someone with a bad connection or spyware, malware of any sorts, it'll lag the whole conference call, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, IRL stuff here. This is where we just kind of rant and rave and ramble on about random stuff. And I have a random thought, because I've been sick this week and just trying to stay on top of work, but also focus on me. Actually, the CEO and president of our company, very kind, and said, "Hey, what are you doing here? Just go home." But I'm a workaholic and I can't just leave because I know a day off from work will put me like a week behind at least. So I've been working shorter days, but still then take a little nap and then work some more from home. Of course, moment I try to rest, that's when all the phone calls come in, and yep, that's what happens. When you're a superstar and you set the bar high, everybody comes to depend on you. The reward for doing a really good job is getting more work to do. I kid. I'm just being a little snarky. That is, there are rewards, but don't always expect them. Sometimes it's like parenting, it's a thankless job a lot of the times. But my random thought is incontinence. Incontinence. That's a great word. It's a really cool word. It's a very cool word for such a shitty concept, literally. Incontinence, that would be a good way to describe my state this past week or so. Just not quite there, Get the bubble guts, and it's like, oop, gotta run to the border. The worst is the cold sweats. It's great when you get able to sleep in bed, put a little cold compress on your forehead, or have a hot water bottle, whatever you prefer, or a heated blanket, whatever your therapy is. Maybe some Vicks Vapor Rub. But we're trying to soldier on through and get some work done. Not so much. Gotta double check, but I think we still need one or more teams for one of our fantasy football leagues. This is the Nipples of Fate Back Pocket NOF Back Pocket League, one of our expansion leagues. It's currently set to be a keeper league, but I might just reset the settings. So this weekend I'll be working on that. Last week I talked about random sci-fi on Amazon Prime and how there's a lot of interesting finds on there. I just started watching Iron Sky. That was a pretty interesting concept. Nazis in space. Not that that's unique, but it's pretty cool. Gosh, there were a few gems I found. They're all B-rate movies, But I'm trying to remember them, man. It's just random stuff I've been watching while trying to rest and recuperate, recharging my batteries. But there was one that was just really bad. What was it called? Oh, Aliens Rising was pretty good. That was with Lance Hendrickson, who always seems to play a badass cop or like some kind of military general or colonel, and this is no exception. And a few other people in there too, but he's the one that stood out for me. That was pretty good. But this really bad movie. It was one of those movies that was so bad it was good. I think it was called. Gosh, I should probably look it up. Amazon Video. Zone X. Aliens Zone X. That's it. Aliens Zone X. Aliens Zone X. Had nothing to do with the Aliens movies, in case you're wondering. This movie was just weird. It opens up with some really pretty, yet somehow rugged, rugged-ish looking guy, lean, muscular and all this stuff, running up like some like mountains and stuff, so going up some trails, and you can tell the sun is setting, so you get that nice kind of dusk kind of lighting going on, and all of a sudden he's just like, at some point I guess he takes off his shirt, shows off his six-pack, and then drops down and starts doing like really aggressive push-ups. And then it takes that little bit that takes a lot longer than it should. Like, okay, I get it. He's doing push-ups and he's really fast. Good. And then he's doing like Tai Chi and yoga type shit. And his eyes light up and he's like, I guess he's collecting his chi. He starts shooting fireballs. And I'm like, what? So, right off the bat, they have like this fantasy kind of lean. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be so bad, but I couldn't help but keep watching it, So this guy is doing his little exercise routine, and he's shooting fireballs. All right, good stuff. Next thing you know, they cut to these young folks. Millennial Generation Z types, and I don't know why they're driving through the desert, but I guess they're on a road trip or something. Maybe they're going to Vegas. I can only assume this is in Arizona or Nevada, more unlikely. Maybe Texas, maybe, but it looked more like Nevada, Arizona type desert. Anyway, they're driving and, bullshitting, having kind of conversation you would expect from these younger generations. Of course, they have to have the somewhat attractive women showing cleavage and skin and whatnot. The mark of a good B-rate kind of movie, right? Especially in horror, but this isn't horror at all. And then there's like a guy on a motorcycle, and he's like grunting and making strange sounds, like he's jerking off without his hands, like psychic masturbation. I don't know, it's weird. And then like they say, this guy's kind of weird. He's like riding right behind us, and then he like pulls it next to them with it, points the gun at them, and then rides away on his motorcycle, and grunts some more into the distance. And this is one of the movies where the dialogue is partly, the acting is terrible, and then the dialogue is even worse. Like, any kind of movie where the characters tell you what's clearly happening, things that are obvious to the audience. Hey, this guy has a gun and he's pointing it at us. Like, yes, I can see that. Oh man. I should have taken notes. I feel like this should be our community assignment, is to have a bunch of us just watch this movie, come up with like notes, and then like compare what we notice. Like you see, have like a poll maybe. What is the worst part in this movie? And again, this is Alien Zone X. It's free with Amazon Video, Amazon Prime. You know, I don't regret watching it. It's just one of those things where I'm like, what? The what was it? One of the best parts though. So anyway, their car stalls, so they start walking. Then the plane crashes, and they end up walking, getting together with the buff dude who ends up being a park ranger. And he's, interesting enough, he has an Australian accent, so you know he has to be, you know, a real survivor, an outdoorsy type, right? God, they have such bad stereotypes. You know, they have the one black person on the show talks kind of funny, and he's got all these conspiracy theories. He's also in the desert, and he's wearing a hoodie and jeans that have to be like of a heavier weight, you know, baggy jeans. I mean, man, he must be like raunchy as hell under those jeans and the hoodie and his 2 t-shirts or whatever. Oh my god. But anyway, they all end up, you know, crossing paths, and they try to seek refuge. So the outdoorsy guy, the park ranger, is like, hey, you know, the nearest shelter is, you know, 10 miles away, but I could tell you with the terrain, or the 5 miles away, which isn't that bad. I've walked 3 miles, 5 miles, no problem, both ways, you know. You know, in a pinch, you know, vehicle isn't working, can't get a ride. You gotta do what you gotta do. But you know, the terrain is rough, so I get it, and it's hot. So you know, these conditions and with the supplies we have, you know, we're not gonna make it there. But I know there's a stream over the horizon about 3 miles out. But you know, we could cut across here and we'll get there. And then they end up bumping into a fenced-in area that is supposedly a military research facility. And this is the best part of the movie, I think. Well, there's a lot of moments where you're like, wow. But this one really just stood out. They look at the sign, and it's, you know, it's basically it says get out, you know, restricted area. And the ex army guy looks at it and says, well, I could tell you from my experience in the military that this type of sign usually means you have to stay out. Probably some some radioactivity, and there might be minefields and such. You know, like, you know, and then the only thing he said that actually made sense was like, oh, this here it says gray zone. That means that it's an area you won't find on a map or GPS. It's, you know, it technically doesn't exist, right? Like an Area 51 type of thing. And but for everything else he was telling them, there were literally like small, like fine print, like short, small lines of text and icons to let them know what kind of threats there were. And it said mind control, alien tech. And this movie has to be trying to be bad, because there's no way they could be taking this seriously at all. Oh my god. Yeah. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, these writers, the producers, whatever, they must have just said, let's make the cheesiest movie possible, but then make people just second guess it for a second and just think that maybe we're trying to be serious, but we're really not. Because some of this stuff is just deliberately bad. It has to be. It's just so out there. Anyway, Aliens Zone X, check it out. And if you're interested in doing a little round table discussion of it, who knows, maybe we'll watch it live and record it, but then you have to worry about stupid copyright shit and, The only way we can get around that is by speeding up the audio or something, and I don't know. But it'd be good to watch as a community and have a few people join us to discuss how bad it is. I just love sci-fi. There's not enough of it out there. There's a lot of fantasy stuff out there. Of course, plenty of horror. Horror's been making a strong comeback, but sci-fi feels like you really don't come by it as much, and when you do, a lot of it's just really cheesy crap. But this was noteworthy just because it's gonna crack you up. The CGI in there is just pretty hilarious. And then there's these aliens trolling the group. If I tell you anything else, I might spoil it for you. But guys, this thing takes so many twists and turns. But the dialogue, oh god, so bad. It's worth watching. It's really worth it. Anyway, we haven't done much news as of late, so let's jump in to obligatory news and rants. Go over a few headlines, and again, it's gonna be a short show tonight. I don't like going too long if it's just me. I think the best part of this show is the banter we get between the chat and our hosts and whatnot. But there's a lot of stuff going on. One of the big things that happened since we last really talked about the news, about 2 or 3 weeks back, Equifax had a huge data breach, and I think it compromised a third of the accounts that they have on file. The sad part is, as massive as this was, it's still eclipsed by Yahoo's security breaches in the past decade, especially the one was about 4 or 5 years ago. That one hit home. I know my better half got hit by that, and so Yahoo still has the biggest data breach. But Equifax, I mean, these are people handling social security numbers. That's a huge deal. So this is a more important one, I think, to note. So you'll notice a lot of companies now, they're offering credit monitoring services, and they even go in, like, I know Discover Card, they do a thing where they'll alert you if your information, if information's been found on the dark web. That's another thing. Now, the awareness of cybersecurity, InfoSec for short, has become so keen that now that all these marketing folks are throwing out all these buzzwords. Orange juice. I need to get my vitamin C and all that good stuff, you know what I mean? Build up the immunity system. I just heard too, and this was actually posted on our Discord, the Family Matters house in Chicago is going to be demolished. I didn't see why. I guess I should read that. Now, if I recall, they didn't actually film in that house. We just saw the facade of it, Typically, a lot of these shows are filmed on sets, not actual locations. It would have been neat if they actually filmed in that house. Oh, this is going to be a video thing. Let's see. It's because this is Seattle's Fox channel. You have to open up with, it's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. So they wrote, and this is Q13Fox.com. They say the home featured in the opening credits of the 1990s sitcom Family Matters has been approved for demolition, according to WGN. The house is where the fictional Winslow family lived, and the iconic character Steve Urkel frequently visited. You'll likely remember Urkel's nasally voice, clumsy nature, and classic catchphrase, "Did I do that?" Let's see. So it's a 2-story frame multi-unit residence. It's a quaint little house. The owners plan to build a 3-unit residence on the lot. Oh, okay. Coldwell bankers Lisa Weinstein told DNA Info that renovating the home wasn't a viable option for the homeowners, and they plan to hang photos of their original house and Family Matters cast in the new property's entryway. And while the Family Matters show was set in Chicago, the show was filmed in California. There you go. All our questions answered, and then some. It's the end of an era. I do want to say too, and speaking of end of an era, wrestling legend Bobby the Brain Heenan passed away a few days ago, and he's widely regarded as one of the best managers in pro wrestling. You usually think when you watch wrestling these days, you don't really see too much of the manager hype and just the overall presence. And I think that's one of the big parts was having the managers talk shit or something, go in the ring themselves. Again, changing times, right? On top of that, Toys R Us has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, this is something that folks in the logistics industry and supply chain have known for a long time. But still, not as finally there. You're like, oof, that's rough. But what is encouraging, Chapter 11 is not the worst. It's not like a Chapter 13 or Chapter 7. Though I don't think organizations can do Chapter 7. I think it's only personal. For corporations, it's 11 or 13, if I'm not mistaken. Well, the Chapter 11 basically, they get protection from creditors while it basically buys them time while they restructure their finances and their operations. So that's encouraging. And in fact, in spite of their financial issues, they're still hiring thousands of people for seasonal work this year. I think this is important news too because, nostalgia aside, something like Toys R Us, it's kind of a commodity, right? And you could say, online shopping, blah, blah, blah. But the retail experience of actually getting your hands on this stuff and walking through aisles, you can't replace that with digital. And it's a shame, I work in IT. I love the tech stuff. But it's like kids just want tablets and smartphones. I mean, what is the iPhone X is now going to be a $1,200 phone? Ridiculous. I get started on that one. But
well, you don't want to buy a phone that costs as much as a laptop?
Hell no. $1,200 will get you a freaking really nice laptop. Unless you buy an Alienware. I get your shitty one in.
Yeah, it's not. For the price, no, not worth it.
Well, the funny thing is the specs on paper are worse than the Samsung S8. So it's like
it always is that way.
Yeah.
But the optimization of the iPhone, it's subjectively a better phone.
Right.
It does some things better, some things worse. And the face scanning stuff is going to be second to none because, much like with everything else that Apple implements, they don't put it out there until it's flawless. You may disagree with some of the things that they do, but Touch ID they didn't put out until it was legitimately the world class for fingerprint recognition.
Yeah.
So they're doing the same thing with the face, but getting rid of the home button. The more you change stuff from hardware to software, I'm not a fan.
Me neither. In fact, I'm almost tempted to go back to BlackBerry now that they have the Android, and they're running on Android, and they have the physical keyboards. I still miss the physical keyboard.
See, I was never on the physical keyboard bandwagon. I went from a Razr phone to an iPhone.
Yeah. Okay. So you never got used to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I never did. I never touched that, so I have no no opinion on a physical keyboard, but
Yeah.
I always thought Blackberries were silly.
Well, I got sucked into them because company I worked for at the time was this is when BlackBerry was very aggressively trying to get businesses on board. We got free Blackberries and free, Palm Pilots. So I was like, woohoo,
Well, yeah, that's what the smartphones started as. It was a business phone. You were a big deal. You were a big shot if you had one of those. Now every 8-year-old has one.
I know. And that's why I was just talking about the whole Toys R Us thing. It really just reminds us how much times have changed. Like, kids don't want action figures anymore. And they still do, but, not as much as they used to. And
That, honestly, comes down a lot to the parents.
it does.
Because both of my kids, they like the technology stuff. But if given the option, my oldest is 10. She'd rather be outside playing on a skateboard or throwing a football around rather than sitting inside playing video games.
Yeah, and
So,
my family.
I don't know if she's the deviation from the norm, or if maybe the 12 and under crowd who've officially grown up with this high-end technology boom
They're getting bored of it.
are either bored of it or just accustomed to it.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe they want to. Losing my voice here. Maybe they want to get something to break the mold, which that makes sense too. That can happen. You grow up with something, you take it for granted.
Yeah, and you can say all you want that video games and whatnot are viable replacements to being outside, but there's such a vast difference with using your brain to do something and your thumbs and actually going out and physically doing it.
Yeah. Well, even not even so much that opposite extreme. Just with action figures and Play-Doh and stuff like that, it gets you to use different parts of your brain where you actually use your imagination, and you get.
And I think there are video games that kind of bend into that, like your Minecrafts and things like that. But I think Minecraft is probably one of the reasons why Lego is hurting.
Well, Lego's pricing doesn't help them either.
No, but I asked my parents, and they confirmed, because I don't remember when I was age 6 through 10 how much Legos cost, but yeah, it was an arm and a fucking leg then.
Yeah, it's always been expensive. Yeah.
I think what's hurting Lego, honestly, is when I was a kid and when you were a kid, their focus was on just, here's the blocks, be creative. I remember this one ad that was this little girl holding this giant mass of constructed Legos into something, and the copy on it was, I don't know what it is, but it's beautiful. So the focus was on being creative and making something. Yeah. And now the focus is more on, here, build this robot. Here, build this one little play set that's going to cost you $50, and then you're just going to sit it on a shelf and never touch it because you don't want to break it.
Yeah, it's model building, it's collectibles.
Yeah. And I think that's clearly the wrong focus. Because they're struggling, and they continue doubling down on these expensive play sets.
Yeah, even what they used to do, even when they had, things that usually it used to be that you would get a set and they give you a bunch of things on the cover, on the box, or an instructions that you can make with it, but you still had tons of extra parts where you could do whatever you want with it, but they give you suggestions, It's not like you have exactly enough parts to make this thing, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like, here, build this Death Star, and never touch it again.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't I just buy a fucking puzzle at that point?
Yeah, it's true.
That's the exact same thing. You're basically just buying a 3D Lego puzzle. You're buying an expensive bag of plastic bricks that they're going to handhold your way through building.
Yep. And they used to be a lot more aggressive. I think they still do it in some places. Like, I think on Tuesdays in participating stores, Toys R Us, I think, is one of them, still does it. You could go in there and get free Lego. There's random bags of Legos. It's pretty cool. I always, I still love it when I go to a store and they have like the candy store style. You have the shovel and you just get random bricks and put them into a bag and you pay by weight. Have you seen that?
Down in Disney, they have one of those.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and then they have this like courtyard out back where you just build whatever you want out in the little back courtyard area.
Oh yeah.
And they would have when we were down there last year, they were doing little soapbox derby races with the cars. You just had all these little tables full of Legos. It was like a 7-year-old me's greatest dream. And you just had all these tables of Legos to build and build your little car, and then you go race it.
Yep. I won't lie, with the little ones, I tend to buy gifts because, especially one in particular, she loves to, anytime I go to the store, she's like, hey, Pop, can you get me a toy? like she, the moments that see me go out the door, is like, bring me back a toy? I'm like, I'll see, sweetie. So then sometimes I'll be like, this is pretty cool. I'm going to get it for her, but really it's for me.
See, that's the other mindset that I think fucked Lego. Was you're going to look at a box of Star Wars Legos and be like, that's fucking awesome. I can build this with my kid and then I can put this up on my shelf. When in reality, your kid's never going to see it and you're just going to build it in your office and never show anybody and just tuck it off somewhere.
That's true. That's very true. But
I got some good observations and insights sometimes.
But on the flip side of that, if they could play that up and get it where it could bring the families close together, working on projects together, the kid will enjoy it for one reason, and the parents will enjoy it for another reason.
Yeah.
Like the
part of that would be
techniques they should like do more with, like to help people ease into like robotics. They started to do. I remember when they
I remember they used to have those. I had a couple of those sets.
Yeah.
God, I don't even know how much they cost. I don't know who my parents had to kill to buy them.
Dude, those things.
I'm sure they probably ended up like owing some favor to the Russian mafia. I don't know, but
they used to.
I remember I had a few of those.
They used to. They started to like get more advanced with this. So they had like different tiers. So they had the entry level stuff, very basic stuff, right? Like you have like a platform that's motorized for wheels, and maybe I don't know, some kind of servo motor for like a joint, so you can make an arm.
Yeah, you'd be able to. There'd be like actual motors and cogs and gears and
that's
belts and whatnot to legitimately make things move. Yeah,
that's the more advanced ones where like you had all those different things, the moving parts. But
see, I wonder what. I really would like to know what killed that. Because I think that would. I legitimately think that would play well now.
It would.
You put something like that together and you just slap like a micro USB in there so you can
program
hook it up and program it to do stuff.
Oh, dude. See, there's already other toy manufacturers making stuff like that. What's that one robot I saw in Best Buy?
Uh,
I
Osmo.
think that's yeah.
Is it Osmo? Something like that.
He's like a little. He's a little guy, and it's like a little robot in a huge box.
Yeah,
Like
it's like a little Wall-E type robot, and
yeah.
it says that it learns and will play with you.
Yep. Which, you know, I gotta say I'm intrigued, but I'm like, damn, like $200 for this little shit, and then a bunch of
Yeah.
props. But he's got a learning computer, so you know stuff like that is neat. There's potential there, but to be able to build something customized, or even if it's just, it doesn't have to be so granular. It could be just modular parts you can mix and match. That'd be cool too.
Yeah.
But
Why aren't we creative directors at Lego? We're not Swedish.
you know,
We don't live in Sweden.
I wonder how long before like a bigger company buys them out. Like, I don't know, Disney.
They have enough licensing deals with Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where they go through their licensing. The fact that the giant Lego store is part of the Disney promenade, that they're probably in bed together.
Yeah, I think so too. Because they've become very distinctly Disney. Like, they still do other stuff, like the Warner Brothers stuff, but now I look at Lego, it's like, it got a very Disney vibe. Not in a bad way, it's just like, you feel like they're a Disney property. So, something's got to give there. But, you know, Lego's not going to go anywhere. I think it's going to be a timeless thing. It's just, how much will they grow and be relevant, you know, generations to come.
See, that's another part of the last 50 years that's kind of been a lie, is that there's just going to be this constant, steady growth forever. The second a company posts earnings that aren't quite what last year's were, everyone goes into fire sale like this is the end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, no, there's just not going to be constant expansion forever. There's going to be entropy. It's going to collapse back in at some point.
Yeah, that's just basic physics, you know. If it's not going up, it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
And you have to adapt.
It's like, oh no, you didn't make $2 billion, you made $1.8 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Not the end of the world.
Yeah, and they can plan for that kind of stuff. Really, there's always trending data they could look at. But you know, this whole Toys R Us,
like you were saying with Toys R Us, they didn't. It's not a surprise to them. The writing's been on the wall for a while.
That's true.
And their attempt at rebranding, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago now, clearly didn't work when they tried to play back to nostalgia with the Toys R Us kid marketing. It just didn't.
That kind of worked for me.
Again, you're not the target.
Yeah.
You're not the target demographic.
I guess they were hoping
all your kids are older.
Yeah, that's true. I
So
guess
you're not.
You know, they probably go for folks my generation and still have youngins so they can get them to the store. And it's kind of, they go there for their nostalgia, but then the kids end up getting stuff. So
Yeah, and they're shooting at my age bracket, the 28 to 35 window with younger kids.
yeah,
Which it used to be, they just shot directly at the kids, and then the kids irritated the parents until eventually they brought them to the store.
it's true.
But that kind of predatory marketing has been frowned upon, and the kibosh has been put on most of it.
Yeah, that's true. You know, but I think it's okay every now and then to have unapologetic, brainwashing advertising just thrown at the kids.
Oh yeah, just straight pandering to the children.
Yeah, because sometimes you get some really good jingles or just some really cheesy things that are memorable, and so you go back to, you're like, man, that was bad. It was great.
Like, I keep laughing about the fucking Skip It theme.
How did it go again?
Like, just skip it, skip it. And it's like the very best thing of all. So there's a counter on the ball.
Oh my god, that's right.
It was just...
Oh my god, the very best thing of it all was the counter on the ball. Yes.
So it was, not only was it just some mindless game, you spun this thing around on your ankle outside, you could compete against your friends.
It's pretty great. But yeah, I think Toys R Us is going to bounce back.
Oh, absolutely. The holiday season will be fine for them.
Yeah.
There'll be some weird-ass obscure toy that every little kid needs, and they will have just enough of them to drive hundreds of people to each store, and half of them leave with that toy, and half of them leave with the cheap Chinese knockoff.
I think I'm going to find more excuses to take everyone to Toys R Us, or just go there and like buy random stuff.
Yeah, just find the excuse to buy gifts for small children that don't require electricity.
Yeah, that's always the big one.
Encourage them to go outside and play.
Batteries not included.
Batteries not needed.
I'm a big fan of board games. That's one of my favorite things.
It depends on the game, but yeah, board games are great. Did you ever play Zombies?
Yes,
with how much you love roguelikes, I'm sure you love it.
You're talking about the tile-based one, right? They got a bunch of different, that thing goes back. I think the first time I encountered that was 98, somewhere around there.
When I first played it, it was 2001. We were at the comic book shop where we used to do our tabletop RPGs, and the DM, the storyteller didn't show up that night. So we're like, what the fuck are we gonna do? We're here. We already ordered pizza, so we have to be here for at least the next 6 hours. So we pooled all the excess money that we had, and we bought all 7 expansions that they had.
Damn.
Then we just left it there as the community game.
Nice.
And it's like every week we would sit down and take up like 5 folding tables. And we would go over to the Warhammer kids and be like, we're stealing one of your tables. They were pushover, so.
That's because they were too busy painting their miniatures.
Oh my god. That is not a poor kid or a impatient kid's game.
No, it's not. Especially if you get it to like the terrain building aspect, and then it's like a whole other thing. Just, Jesus.
There were a couple of the kids that would go there that would bring in like gun cases, like full-on 6-foot-long hard pelican cases of just terrain and models, and that shit was unreal. And they would paint each one of them. And it was just, I don't know how they had the patience for it, or the steady hand, or the free time, or the money. I mean, those were like $200, $300, $400 for some of those.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Especially if you're buying a pre-built terrain. If you're making it from scratch, not as bad, but
if you're making it from scratch, all you need is just styrofoam, some type of heated cutter, and some patience.
Yep. Or a Dremel.
God.
Dremels are surprisingly good, but they got so many attachments for those darn things now.
A 3D printer back then would have made a fucking killing.
That's true.
That's still the one unnecessary purchase that I keep looking at going, I can't justify buying one, but I want it.
Yeah, but I'm sure if you had one, you'd find a whole bunch of like random uses for it. Like, maybe not useful, but fun stuff, you know?
Oh, it absolutely wouldn't be useful. But I would have several bobbleheads of myself.
You could also you get the ones that could do like consumables and like start making your own specialized cakes and stuff, you know?
Now, my daughter started doing actual cooking.
Uh-oh.
So yeah. She found that that YouTuber Rosanna Pizarro or whatever, the Nerdy Nummies girl, and she's
That's
been
familiar.
obsessed. YouTube a little while ago gave a huge push to her, and my daughter's just been sucked in. She's been baking constantly. She's on Amazon like, ooh, she has a whole line of cookware. She has a whole line of this and that.
Oh my god.
And I check while I'm at work, and she's just adding stuff to the cart. I'm like, no, we're not buying. There's no way that we need a $9 cake leveler. Get out of here.
I wonder if PewDiePie came out with like some products, what would his products be? Like, what would you identify him with? Like, what? I don't know. Definitely not
Hair dye and
cookware.
armbands?
There you go.
That an edgy enough joke?
Is it'd be a combo deal, like Grecian formula, but like PewDiePie on the cover, and it'll come with like
PewDiePie bleach.
yeah, and it'll come with the armband inside of it. That could work. Yeah. Free prize
the armband
inside.
is the packaging. So it's just a bottle, and then the armband is around it. And when you take the label off, you can flip it inside out, and it's got the PewDiePie fist in a circle on the other side.
Waste-free packaging. Speaking of which, have you noticed a lot of the online stuff now? They have like the retail packaging, and then they have the hassle-free packaging. Have you seen that?
Usually for a discount. I've seen it with Nerf guns.
Yeah.
Because last Christmas I bought a couple of them online, and it said retail packaging, and then the hassle-free one was like $6 less.
Yeah,
so I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. And what it is it's just gray basic cardboard, just the brownish gray cardboard. None of those zip ties, none of that bullshit.
Yep.
That's just it. It's like, here's the toy. You don't need fancy branding. You know what you're buying.
It's pretty smart.
My assumption is that it's just like shipping container got wet, all the packaging got ruined, but the product is still fine. So they got to figure out something to do with it so they don't just cut it as a loss.
Yeah. I think a lot of it also too is in the warehouses they have the stuff that's still in the pallets, but they're not in the retail packaging yet. They have to be kitted. So like depending on what the orders are from the retail channels, if they're not hitting their marks, they'll start probably doing that basic packaging. Just throw in some shrink wrap and bubble wrap. I don't know. Some
I think just
nondescript.
Wrap it up, send it to Amazon. They'll buy it.
Yeah, nondescript boxes. There you go, and it cuts down the cost too. It's a little greener. So and you don't have to freaking wrestle with those damn 100 zip ties and tape put in strategic locations. Like, ugh. It's why I get my R2D2 out of the box.
While we're talking about packaging, now that they don't have video game manuals in the boxes anymore,
why are they still making the
boxes
boxes
still huge?
Yeah.
Why haven't they gone to like the slim jewel cases?
Yeah. Cause they don't
I mean, there's
don't look good on display. That's probably why. That was one of the things, as stupid as it seems, even though the PlayStation did it too. But that was like one of the other extra things people use against the Dreamcast. Like, instead of CD jewel case, what the fuck?
But the thing is, if you do the CD jewel case, not even like the slimline ones that don't have a spine, you go with the ones with a spine, you can still see what the game is on the shelf
That's
turned
true. Yeah.
sideways.
Yep.
Nintendo's the only one that seems to have tackled it the right way, because there's like sections missing out of the container. There's like chunks missing out of plastic out of it, so it cuts down on the weight of it and cuts down on the amount of plastic used, but it's still nonsense.
Yeah.
Just start putting manuals back in there.
I'd be okay with that. I like inserts. I like when I open it up and you get random stickers and little doodads. A little map or something.
Yeah, you gotta pay extra for that now.
Yeah. Donkey dicks. That's all I gotta say. Speaking of video games, so they say the Xbox One X was the fastest pre-order ever. Keep hearing this in different places. I'm like, I'm an Xbox guy. I'm not gonna lie. I like Xbox and PC. That's what I do. But I'm like, compared to what? I'm like, fastest pre-order for Xbox systems or just video game console? I don't know.
But just remember that they're always lying when they say that.
Yeah,
because nothing is going to outsell what the Wii outsold at its prime.
Yeah, that's
ever.
True. Yeah.
Nothing's going to touch that. So if they're saying it's the best-selling game console in a month, they're lying.
Another thing too,
absolutely specific about it being the best-selling video game console in this one store from the hours of 3 to 5:30.
There probably was some specific context, and then through the game of telephone, it's just the messages became fastest to sell out. But even if it was the fastest to sell out ever, there's other things you can think about. Well, how much was actually supplied? Because from what I understand, just locally, and from a lot of people I talked to, like their stores were carrying, anywhere from like 5 units to 13, 15, which isn't much at all.
No, not at all. Not for I'm going to use air quotes here, highly anticipated console.
Or as the Microsoft people keep saying, a premium console. Which, is a nice way of softening the blow and saying, not that many people are going to jump on it right now because it is a premium experience. I'll eventually get one. I don't know.
Being an Xbox guy, this is a legitimate question. Since you can now play console games on your PC and play with people on the Xbox, what's the point?
I'll tell you what the point is. I still hate Windows 10. I don't like it.
I'll agree with you.
I might put it in a petition, but to have that
from that position, I can understand that.
Yeah, and even if I did love Windows 10, to me, the convenience of the console experience is that it's uniform. It's a lot more convenient. Like working with computers all day long, I don't want to fuck with it half the time. Even though I recognize that it's a better experience overall, so I just want to fire up the console, message a few friends that I see on my friends list, and be done with it.
I mean, that's 2/3 of the reason why I have a Mac. I deal in Windows all day. I don't.
Yeah.
I need something different when I get home.
Yeah, you don't have to keep popping the hood. I get that too. Windows is very high maintenance.
That's my job, is maintenance. It's tedious.
Yeah. And then I get a question on this Linux argument. But Linux is like to me, Linux is like getting a really good old dependable car that you always gonna like last you forever. But you gotta like do a lot of work for it first to get it to be do what you want it to do. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
for basic stuff, everything's just overcomplicated. And
Linux is better for what it's intended for. Mail servers.
Yeah.
It's
just servers in general. They're good for firewalls.
System.
Yeah,
as a legitimate operating system, I'm not too keen on it. Give me just the command line. I don't need a UI over it. I'm not going to use it as a regular machine. More power to the people who do, but when we run a couple command line prompts, let's let it just constantly do what it's doing and not worry about it.
I don't want to have to freaking write my own drivers if a driver isn't available for it, and I don't have time for that anymore. Back in the days, I was all about it. Now I'm like, nah. I work with this shit all day long. I don't want to. I get mad enough when my better half is like, hey, can you fix this thing not working? I'm like, I just got home. Let me at least kick off my shoes first.
Not interested in trying to fix any of that.
Yeah. Look, listen, for all the married couples out there or long-term relationship out there, if you're cohabitating in any way, the number one rule is when your better half gets home, there's a buffer you gotta allow them before you bombard them with requests and problems. Let them take off their pants first. Then you could swoop in. If you don't allow at least the time for that, then you're doing it wrong.
Nah, here's... Joking aside. 15-20 minutes to let them decompress. That's what you do. You don't go in guns hot at them the second they go through the door.
Yep, exactly.
Depending on the length of the commute. If you're driving home for an hour, you've had enough time to decompress.
I don't know. That could be the reason you might need longer decompression.
That too. If you've been stuck in traffic for an hour, you may just get out of your car and run laps around the house just to feel alive.
God, I do not miss long commutes at all. I'm so spoiled now. I don't know if I could ever go back to like a realistic, like the average person's experience.
I feel that.
Like right now,
I'm doing. Oh, sorry.
Well, how close are you to your job?
I mean, I have a 25-minute drive, but
not bad.
It's at night.
No traffic. Yeah.
So I have no traffic.
Yeah.
I have nothing. And then when I'm at work, I don't deal in people. I work with computers. I can never go back to a normal job. This job has ruined me. I'm screwed forever.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm within like a 5 to 20 minute drive to all our main hub sites. Now, if it's an out of state or location in Savannah, that's a little different. Savannah's a 2-hour drive, but like just my office is just like 5 minutes away, pretty much. It's like, oh, it's great. So if I'm running late, I'm not really running late. I'm like, you know what? I still have time. I'm gonna grab some breakfast.
Now, how often are you actually late, though? Because what I've learned is the closer you are to where you need to get to, the more likely you are to just show up late.
That's true. So
when I was in college, I would have to drive half an hour to get to class. One of the kids who lived literally 2 minutes away walking would show up 10 minutes late every day.
Yeah. Because you get a little more lax. When you know you have to go further, you like over budget the time. You over project it. So yeah, me is I'm a little bit of a edge case just because, since I'm salaried and I'm pretty much always working in some capacity. My boss jokes around and says, "What did you guys do before Yomar started working here?" Like, seriously. Because anything that happens, doesn't matter. like things that aren't even under my purview. I get called about. Is like, hey, how do I do this performance improvement plan? Like, the fuck? That's an HR issue. Why are you asking me?
Because we know you know how to do it.
It's like, you don't know how to manage your own people. This is stuff like that.
Your phone number's higher up in my phone book than HR. Bitch, my name starts with a Y. Shh. Shh.
Yeah, that's true. There might be some kind of cockamamie stuff going on. But if you go by extensions, I'm in the middle of the pack. Like, just the extension numbers. Like, HR has, like, one of the top blocks. So
of course.
They're doing some crazy stuff. I don't know what people are doing. It's just, I've become the crutch. It's like I always joke. It's like, the reward for doing a job well done is getting more work.
Exactly. You gotta go with the philosophy of my coworkers. If you do something wrong enough, they'll stop asking you to do it.
Yeah. Well, you know, you know how it is. They always people have wised up in the past decade or so that IT people always overproject their timelines. So if they could do it in 2 days, they'll say it'll take 2 weeks. You know. But there's a legitimate reason we do that, because we know that if we give exact, timelines, people will always try to talk us down, or they'll think that we have nothing else going on and it's bombarded with others' requests. And then in a rare case, something goes wrong.
If you're like, hey, I can get this done in 2 hours, you throw it together, and at the end of the 2 hours, it's somewhat buggy and needs more work, they're going to be pissed.
Yep.
But if you say, hey, it's going to take you like 5, and you get it to them in 3, everyone's happy.
Exactly. You got to set the bar, low for yourself.
It's a tightrope game, because if you set the bar, if you say it'll take you a day and you get it to them in fucking 5 hours, they're going to question you and they're not going to give you that leeway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Fine tightrope between shooting yourself in the dick and keeping everyone happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this happened to me the other day. My boss wanted me to do some like geodata and like all this like heat map stuff and crazy shit, sales territories. Kind of my department, but kind of not. And I said, oh well, I can get it to you in about like Monday or Tuesday next week. And his response was, really? I'm like, what do you mean by really? He goes, oh, I just thought, you could just drop it in the template you have and it's, be done in a few minutes. And like, oh yeah, in the magical world, sure. If it's something I did all the time, sure, I would systemize it to make it easier on myself. But this is like a one-off request. I have to do some legwork. And plus this other shit I gotta get done. I didn't tell him that, but, as far as the CEO and the COO goes, I report to them directly. But if they have a request, it's top priority. Like, yeah, but this thing's on fire. I should probably put it out. Nah, that could wait. Okay.
Yeah, there's always something that looks like it should be important, but it's not. It's like, but that kind of is going to break. No, don't worry about that right now. We'll worry about that when it's a real problem. Okay. That's fine.
Yep. It's like I went through the whole spiel about how sometimes pet projects are things that will help with other things that do matter to everyone else. Everybody's mentality is when especially when dealing with execs is, do the things that matter to us. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure if there's like no network access, it's gonna matter to everyone because that's gonna impact the bottom line. So
no, that's not important.
Yep. It's like this thing I'm doing to like set up a hot failover site and have redundancy in place. It's a pet project right now because it's not an urgency, but it will save us a lot of money down the road. You can wait.
That's the boring IT stuff. That's not the fun and sexy stuff.
Yeah. You have to have fireworks go off for it to be widely received. Speaking of fireworks, I hear Destiny 2 is doing pretty well. Yeah, I know. I know you and I both shit all over it, especially the way they handled the launch. Even shutting down the original Destiny. Did you hear that shit? That they completely shut down the old Destiny? What kind of fruity shit is that?
10-year plan.
This is fucking crazy.
Bring your characters over from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2.
But I'm gonna jump on board because my clanmates suddenly, decided to revive, and they kept harassing me hey, Yogi, can give us admin access so we can recruit people? Hey, Yogi, hey, we need to promote some people. Can you give me access? Hey, Yogi. I'm like, geez, I might as well play the game myself. So
I never will.
You have more willpower than I do.
Because it's so much more. The more I've had time to sit back and think about it, it's more than just the price gouging and then the unfair curveball that they threw when Taken King came out. And it's like, hey, you can now buy all the DLC and whatnot that everyone else paid $100 and something for.
Yeah.
For the price of the game, which is now discounted down to $40. Enjoy. Yep. It's more than that. It's the not being able to carry your character over, even if it makes sense storyline-wise.
Yep.
They promised that we could. That's a lie.
Yep.
The heavy focus on PvP
all you have nothing, from what I said, there's nothing to show for your efforts in the first installment. Not even like stats or story elements carry over, nothing. So it's like all that time you spent grinding and getting your gear just right and kind of getting some sense of being unique out the window. So you're starting from square one.
But they gave you the option to buy a shirt from them if you did everything in Destiny 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Stupid. Now the worst of it is really it's the focus on PvP. The fact that they decided to shift everything towards that at the end of Destiny 1 rather than really emphasize on the subjectively more entertaining part of the actual world building and raids and events and things like that I had more fun with. And then they broke the corrective measure, and that was the straw that broke my back.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, if they really made the world more expansive and focused more on the cooperative experience, it'd be phenomenal. But I just gave up trying to hope for that, and I'm pretty good at the PvP, so I guess I gave it a little more of a pass. But yeah, just the constant, just bad decision after bad decision. I don't know. But it's what everybody's playing.
Bungie knows what they're doing. Bungie makes a well-polished, slick shooter that feels great. Can't knock them for it. You know that they know what they're doing with that. But I have no delusions about it anymore. It's not mine. It's not my thing.
Yeah. Well, it's also kind of trippy too. Seeing BattleNet on the Destiny app, and then it finally clicks in your head. Oh yeah, Activision, Blizzard. Oh yeah, it's all one family. It's kind of trippy, And not saying
And I mean, that's
the
why
PC
I was
version.
surprised that Destiny 1 didn't come to PC, but
Yeah. I don't
Sony
know.
should have paid that little bit more money just to keep Destiny an exclusive. Especially after Destiny 1 was such a hit.
Even if they did, I think it still just would have been a timed exclusive type of thing. Because, if you think about the way the marketplace is now, there really isn't exclusive titles driving the market anymore. You have a few exceptions, Nintendo's built their own empire.
There could be again, and I have a feeling there will be. Mainly because isn't Kojima Studios part of Sony? Isn't he directly in their wheelhouse now, so anything he makes is going to be exclusive Sony?
I don't know how that's gonna work. I guess yeah. It's quite possible.
I mean, that's gonna be...
I mean, Kojima is a big player, and I still have high hopes for what he can still pull it out. But
yeah, people still are all over him. Even if his games read like a bad Tom Clancy ripoff.
He's just got swag, man. He's got the swagger.
The thing is, he's not even the cool... He wasn't even the cooler of the developers at Konami. He was just the loudest of them.
Yeah, he kind of is full of himself.
Ego will always be my favorite.
Yeah.
Because Symphony of the Night was that good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like it might be in the Sony umbrella.
But speaking of which, is Inafune working on anything else now?
I'm hoping that he just lives in a cave somewhere and cries thousands of tears over how bad Mighty Number 9 came out.
Well, yeah. Besides that.
Honestly, with how much that was a ripoff, I hope he doesn't touch a computer ever again.
Yeah, I guess, they all can't be hits, right?
No. And if it were even close to being a polished enough game to be okay, I'd cut him some slack, but that game failed catastrophically on every possible level. And did you hear about the physical discs or the physical release for the backers that paid something over $100 for?
No, I heard something about that.
You had to assemble the box yourself, and it didn't come with a disc. It came with a download code for the game, which you would have already gotten from the tiers prior of the Kickstarter. And the box itself didn't even... If I remember correctly, the box itself didn't even build properly.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was...
Mighty
Number 9 was a mistake.
I would have liked to be a part of it just to have the story to share. I have a dilapidated box. Yay!
It'd be funny if it wasn't $100.
Well, some people have $100 to spare, and there's nothing to them. So yeah.
Yeah, look at the Star Citizen cult.
Oh God. I mean, on paper it sounds amazing, but then you think about it, like that's just too auspicious of a project.
It's never gonna happen.
Yeah, it's No Man's Sky all over again, if you ask me.
It's not even No Man's Sky. It's just they're legitimately just taking all that money and pocketing it. There's no way they're not. They'd have more to show for the $80 million or whatever the fuck it's brought in.
Insane.
But instead they have like life-size replicas of the ships at their giant Star Citizen conventions in their own private hangars. Insane. I wonder who's paying for that.
Fucking crazy shit. Yeah, there's been a big void. I was talking earlier in the show about this just good lack of good sci-fi, especially like good like space operas, and also in video games. Like, where are the wing commanders at, and you know, TIE fighters and shit like that. I don't know. I mean, there's a few of them, you know, but it's just, it feels like there's still more of an opportunity. Obviously, Star Citizen tells us that that's the case. But
there's a market. There is a market for that. Why do you think people were so excited for No Man's Sky? The fact that No Man's Sky fell flat doesn't mean that people don't want space games.
I mean, dude, even FTL is pretty basic, but that game is so satisfying just because you get to have the experience of a whole crew and having your own ship and building it the way you want and exploring space, and you know, it's simple, but it's fun.
That's one of those indie darlings that's just... I still need to play it. Everything I've heard is that it's amazing, so one of these days.
I love it. Fantastic. So
hey, an extra copy of it.
I might have
had on Steam. Send it over to me.
I might have an extra copy actually. Is it that's one of the ones that's Mac compatible, isn't it?
Pretty sure. I think that's one of the.
I remember we went.
Most of the indie games are, because that's what indie devs own. A lot of them, at least the kind of ones that make 8-bit hipster bullshit games like that.
A lot of them are.
I mean that in the nicest way possible.
A lot of them are using Unity. Unity's pretty good about the cross-platform.
Yeah, Unity's one of the better, if not best, cross-platform for indie devs, at least.
I think the one that we were talking about a while back that wasn't on Mac that I really wanted to play with more people is Risk of Rain.
No, Risk of Rain is also on Mac. I believe I own it.
Okay. There was one that...
no, it was Mount Your Friends and Duck Game. Those are the two games that I've been debating getting a Windows partition or like a cheap Windows PC to set up.
Mount Your Friends is such a great drunk game.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I would only need something with like a fucking dual core to run those.
Yeah, that's pretty...
I mean, shit, the Xbox 360 runs Mount Your Friends.
Good times. So hey, wrapping up the show before it gets any later. This is a segment I've been meaning to do a while back. Did I talk to you about the hater dating? The hater app that it hooks you up with people that hate the same things as you. We haven't had this conversation? Why am I getting deja vu? Oh, you'll love this then. So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but there's an app that basically, you know, it does what Chemistry.com or eHarmony does, better yet. You know, but it's like it focuses on the things you hate, the things that piss you off, the things that irk you, and it finds people that agree with those same things. It's pretty. It tells you where society's heading, but they have a map.
That's actually kind of brilliant.
It is. It's also kind of fucked up at the same time, though. It's like, do we really need to like encourage cynicism any more than we already do? You know, like you ever watch kids react to whatever? And there's always like the one or two kids that are like really grumpy or just hipsters, like, oh, it's not very good. You know, it's like, oh my god, everybody's just so like meh about everything. Anyway, but it is a brilliant model. I mean, I actually thought of something like this before, and I'm kind of kicking myself like, damn, apparently the model works. So they have a map, and it shows the United States in 3 segments: East Coast, the middle. It was called the middle. It's not even the Midwest. It's like a little bit of everything in the middle. I guess it's the Pacific, the Central Time Zone. That's what it'd be. And then the Pacific and Mountain Time Zone. That's how they split it. So they have the number one thing that each state hates. I don't even know where to start. And also my geography sucks. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
let me pull up this. Let me pull up this map. My geography is stellar.
Alright, good. I know a good amount of them. But I might confuse, like, I think this is Vermont here, or is that New Hampshire? I know that's Maine. Alright, so we'll start in Northeast and work our way down. There's a lot of them. So, it looks like... let me know when you pull it up. I think that's... I want to say New Hampshire hates God. Maine hates Boys Night. Now, it has it in quotes, so I don't know if it's Boys Night the movie or just the concept of Boys Night.
This is fucking genius. I think I found a what is this? A Business Insider article for the app called Hater.
Oh, did you?
Let me see. Yeah, I found this. This is...
New Jersey hates jellyfish. That's pretty boring, but I guess you can't expect much from New Jersey. Which one? Oh, this is one of the ones that stood out for me. What is this? Maryland here? Where's this pointing to? Oh, that's a small block. Oh, I forget what that is. I know that's South Carolina, North Carolina. Little blip.
Connecticut hates winter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Now, is that Rhode Island that hates Middle America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Rhode Island. Why does Pennsylvania hate people who use money clips?
Yeah, I saw that too. I'm like, what? Now what's this over here on the East Coast? Is that Maryland? Wait, I'm confused now. That's probably
Which one? Orange? Delaware?
That's Delaware. That's Delaware. Yep. They hate Casey Affleck. Oh, who's this that says the idea that everyone has a soulmate? Who's that little blip there? It looks like there's a smaller. You see that?
That's DC.
That is DC. Okay, good. That's Virginia around it, right?
Yeah. No, Virginia's right below it.
So why
they hate dabbing pizza grease with napkins.
Why did they set it up like that? Oh, I see what they did. Okay. Oh, Virginia hates dabbing pizza grease with a napkin. Now, that's something New York should hate. I think that's kind of sacrilege. The grease is what makes it good. So yeah, DC hates the idea that everyone has a soulmate. DC's in
Illinois
a very
hates.
What's that?
Illinois hates bloggers.
I saw that one too. They hate bloggers. Oh God.
South Dakota hates the New York Times.
Florida hates workout couples. Georgia hates tuna salads. I don't know why, but apparently we do. North Carolina
Wyoming hating going to the gym.
Oh my God. North Carolina hates DUI checkpoints. That actually makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Why does South Carolina hate Edward Snowden so much?
That one I don't get. I'm like, well, actually, it could make a little bit of sense. Because, just the landscape out here. Because we have the Cyber Command moving out to Georgia. There's also a lot of... Yeah. You know how the NSA is breaking away from the military. There's a lot of, like, tension out here. And then South Carolina and Georgia are constantly at it because we're stealing each other's businesses. That's a whole other thing. So there's already tension because of that. But they hate Edward Snowden. I thought that was kind of funny. And that's Alabama hates vegetarianism. Okay.
Makes sense.
Now what the fuck is this? Tennessee hates raised food?
Foraged food.
Oh, forage. It's cut off. Oh, there we go. Forage. I'm like, what the hell is ranged food? Is that a thing? Oh my god. Is that Oklahoma that hates anal sex?
No, that's Mississippi.
Mississippi. Oklahoma's the one right below it, right?
No, Oklahoma's right above. Oklahoma's is Texas's hat.
Oh, you're right. So who's right? Oh, that's Louisiana. That's Louisiana, duh.
I think I'm going to move to Kansas.
What's Kansas?
Those are my people. They hate Seinfeld. Those are my people.
Texas hates sleepy with the window open.
That in Vegas. Let's go.
What's Vegas got going on? I didn't even see that one. Porn?
No.
Am I looking at the right one?
That's
That's
Utah that hates porn. Next one over. Vegas hates feminism.
Oh, duh. Yeah, they're right next to California. Yeah.
What else we got?
Yeah, I like that.
Why does Arizona hate sand?
I was just gonna say that Arizona hates sand. You're in the wrong place.
Leave Arizona.
Oh god, this one makes a lot of sense. Washington hates Keurig K-cups. Because, they know all about coffee.
They know more about coffee than the Ethiopians that make it.
Oregon hates mid-class.
God, this is just great.
And some of them are so random. Like, Alaska hates graffiti. Is that really a big thing?
North Dakota hates tapas?
Oh my god. How can you hate tapas? Appetizers is great.
It's North Dakota.
Small plates you can share. Like, since when you go to a restaurant, you don't really have a big appetite, but you want to try a little bit of everything. So you get a bunch of small plates and share it with your friends. It's fucking awesome.
What if they don't like sharing food?
Yeah, that's true. People do have that hang up.
Hawaii might also be another place where my people taking videos at concerts.
I saw that one too.
You're never going to watch the shitty video. Put your phone down.
New York State hates Times Square.
Yeah. I can see that.
Oh my god. See if there's any other good ones. I'm still stuck at the anal sex one. A place where there happens to be a lot of fat bottom girls. Like, no anal sex.
Missouri hates people who believe in aliens.
Yeah. What was it? Was it Illinois that said they don't like biting into string cheese?
No, that's Illinois that hates biting into string cheese. It's Ohio or Indiana that hates bloggers.
That's right. Okay. Yep.
Wisconsin hates trap music. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really random one.
Pride and Prejudice?
Is that Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some culture, Michigan. Get some culture.
Explains a lot. Who's that hates NSYNC? Shit.
I'll let you guess first.
No, I don't even want to take a stab right now.
Colorado.
Of course. Okay, yeah. It's
right
funny.
Below that's New Mexico.
It's funny. In my head, I've been to Colorado, but I always picture Colorado further north in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I look at it on the map, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's right next to that. Okay.
It also blows your mind when you see the U.S. actually the way it's supposed to be and not presented straight and flat like that.
Yeah.
Tilted, and you're like, oh, wow. Los Angeles is a lot further east than I thought it was. Or you're like, God damn, Alaska's huge.
Yeah, Alaska is huge. But you also think about how much barren land they have still.
For now.
Yeah. I mean, those incentives to work there and do seasonal work there is pretty sweet, right? People work like
I would.
3 months a year,
And
but
then just get paid to live there? Yeah. Just so it stays a state. If I were single, I would do it.
Yeah, that is one of my fallback plans. What a adjustment it had to be. You'd have to have a vehicle that's good in cold weather. You have to make sure you don't let it sit for a long time. You know,
You need a heated garage.
heated garage, have good generators, plenty of layers and warm clothes, stock up on hot beverages. You might not ever really be able to enjoy a cold beverage ever again.
As someone who used to work in negative 50-degree weather, I can confirm cold beverages still suck 3 years out. But yeah.
So would you be drinking a lot of cold beverages if you lived in Alaska during like
No.
the coldest months?
It would just be coffee. You would just be drinking nothing but hot coffee all day, every day.
Yeah. I was thinking
Black
about
hot
it.
coffee.
Maybe in the comfort of your warm home, you might have a cold beverage, but it wouldn't
When I'll
hit
drink a
hit the spot the
cold
same way.
beverage. That's when you cut open a bear and climb inside of it, and that's when you enjoy the Coke that it was drinking.
The poor bear. He's just minding his own
Advertisements
business.
don't lie.
He's enjoying his freaking Coke, and you just cut him open. Like, fuck. Why do you guys keep doing this?
Yes.
Alaska hates polar bears. That'd be great. That's what I actually said on the hater map. Alaska hates polar bears. Fuck you, polar bears. Oh, it's taking my
Yeah,
Coke.
that'd be somewhere. That'd be somewhere in Norway.
I can
There's
see that.
can't remember the name of it, but there's a city in northern Norway that, because of the recent boom in polar bear births, you have to travel the city with a rifle because it's being overrun by bears.
Oh my lord, that's crazy. Now wait, that's Ohio. That's Ohio that hates time ties.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I just saw that one. I still like the raised food. Gotta look at the segment of the map. I'm like, raised food? What is that? You get angry at your food? Oh, and
What did
Louisiana hates being when you have to be the designated driver. That also explains a lot.
What did Lyft do to West Virginia?
I see. That's one of the more random ones. Like, man,
Like I'd like some explanations here.
it tells you a lot about what's going on culturally. Like, I mean, why is there such avid? Why does Colorado hate NSYNC? The Seinfeld one, I'm not gonna question because I could totally see it.
Just it raises more questions than it answers. All of these.
Well, some of them make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Connecticut hating winter.
Yeah,
I get that.
That's on the nose. Like, that one's really on the nose. So I'm not asking any questions there. New Jersey hating jellyfish. I get it. They have shitty beaches to be in with. Jersey Shore.
Massachusetts hating Eli Manning. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah. Washington hating K-Cups. Again, obvious.
All of Massachusetts must be celebrating after the last 2 weeks, though.
What happened in Massachusetts?
Their hatred of Eli Manning. Have you seen
The
last two Giants games?
No, I have not been keeping up I'm so behind. Was it that bad?
Sure.
I'm just happy the Patriots
That
lost
team,
to the Chiefs.
that team is flaming hot garbage,
Oh
and the
God.
Giants are just a dumpster fire. And it is not pretty. And their new rookie left tackle is trying to get Eli Manning killed.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not pretty. And once Odell Beckham Jr. comes back, probably won't get much better.
Yeah. Oh well. What can you do? Again,
Well,
Patriots lost to the Chiefs. I'm happy with that.
I'm happy because I had that running back Kareem Hunt.
The new one, yeah. This is rookie year,
I
right?
picked him up. Yeah, I picked him up right after the draft because I saw a report that Andy Reid said he will be my featured running back.
Oof.
I was like, Andy Reid does two things really well: eat
Run the
and
ball.
coach running back.
Yeah. I agree.
That's why he was so good with. That's why he was so good with McNabb at quarterback. 'Cause McNabb was essentially a running back with a cannon for an arm.
Gosh. I almost forgot about McNabb. Running those pockets.
McNabb used to be so good.
Yep. But that Hunt kid, man.
Oh, football. Oh yeah, that was. He came in and just it was like 3 touchdowns. It's like 146 total yards, I think.
Yeah, that shit was amazing. It was a little rough there for a while. They were down by two touchdowns, and then I was like, all of a sudden it was like boom, boom, boom. I was in Chicago when that game was on, and I remember I was at the bar. I was there on business, but I was like, I'm gonna spend some drinks.
Yeah.
And I saw that, I'm like, yeah, fuck you, Tom Brady.
I had a minor panic attack because the first play of the game, he fumbles the ball.
I remember that. Yeah.
First play, first carry in the NFL. Fucker fumbles. And I'm like, oh, well, there goes my season. Lo and behold, he turns around and rushes for nearly 150 yards and catches another 100 and scores 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, that's something insane. I mean,
Yeah.
he definitely redeemed himself.
Yeah. He made me a happy fantasy owner.
Oh, man. That was a good game. That's probably one of the few games I actually got to catch. And this season just stuck up on me. And I'm like, oh yeah, September. Football season. Oh shit. And I let a lot of my teams auto draft and I'm terrible. It's been just that kind of year.
See, I let one of my teams auto draft, and I ended up with a decent team, except for the fact that it was an auction draft, and the bot paid for way more than what T.Y. Hilton was actually going to be worth.
Oh God.
It's like,
That's
hey, let's
rough.
get a wide receiver who's only good because their quarterback is Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck's out for the first 6 weeks of the season.
Shit.
So you're gonna pay a third of your nearly a third of your entire budget for your team on that one player.
And T.Y. Hilton was pretty disappointing last year. He had some good games,
He
but
wasn't as good as Moncrief was, and even then, minor disappointments all around.
yeah. A lot of variation on that player. But before we go off on another tangent, I think we should wrap it up here. See, everybody's been thrown off because we've been having some short shows the past few weeks.
What is this? 2 hours? Get out of here.
What is this? This is what our shows normally are. We just ramble on and go off on tangents.
We'll find a way to. You can cut this down into like 8 little episodes.
Wait, now when I truncate silence, like it cuts it down to like an hour.
That's kind of sad.
It's not quite that bad, but yeah, like, on average, I could cut with truncated silence and still leaving some good pauses in there. I could cut a good 10, 20 minutes out, depending who's talking, you know, what's going on. You at least cut out some of the ums and you know?
E.
Yep. So, Beard, where have you been these days? By the way, I meant to introduce Beard for those that don't know. Beard, a.k.a. Taylor. Beard and Hat.
They know who I am.
And for our new listeners, you know, got to give him some frame of reference. He's one of our regular hosts.
They know who I am.
They know. We'll just assume. Well, where can we find you these days?
You can find me on Twitter. That's about it. At Beard and Hat. Till I decide to change it.
Someone should make a competing platform and call it Twatter, just because.
Nah, the two competing ones are Mines and Gab.
Mines
and they're only
Gab.
Eh.
Gab I know. Mines I don't know. Got me on that.
Mines is like a Mines is more of a Tumblr type replacement. You got you can upload video, monetize that video, so it's kind of shooting at YouTube as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like an all-in-one social media conglomerate type deal to kind of attempt to pull some of the power from the bigger ones.
I'm surprised all these marketing events I've been to and all the social media folks I talked to, I never heard that one come up in the conversation. That sounds pretty cool. And I love Tumblr.
It's small.
Oh, okay.
Like it's very small.
It's small, so it's probably still useful then.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it works.
You could have It almost reminds me with how like Instagram was back in the day, where you can actually have like a meaningful conversation with someone who's like a low tier celebrity.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you just kind of realize, oh, they're actual people. Cool. Yep. Yeah, stuff like that.
Or how MySpace used to be early on. Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's always that's the fun part about being on the ground level.
Yeah. All social media starts off pretty cool and then eventually turns into Facebook.
Yay! That's the feel-good story for tonight. Well, I'm Yogizilla. You can find me. What's that?
Everything turns to crap eventually. Enjoy.
Yay! That's the ABC after-school special. The best moral you can ever get. Mm-hmm. Everything turns to crap. Yay! The more you know. Bling! So yeah, I'm Yogizilla everywhere. Finally gonna get my ass on some more Xbox Live. I actually ordered Mass Effect Andromeda. Don't laugh at me. It was $20.
How much did you pay for it?
$20 for the deluxe edition.
Oh.
You know, it come with stickers, so I was like, I'm there. I want to play it. I don't care. I'm gonna play online. I'm gonna play the story mode. I'm gonna freaking enjoy it. Especially I'm on a sci-fi kick right now, so fuck it. I also really want to try out. I want to try out Prey, but I hear that's like a 25+ hour game. But everything I've heard about Prey is really good, even though it's been kind of quiet since release. It looks really cool.
Very linear.
Is it?
So once you go through the story, that's it.
Ah.
I think there's like a couple twists at the end, so there's not one ending.
So you just go along for the ride, right? But I mean,
you make a couple choices throughout. I mean, there's
a good action because I hear they said they compared it to like more BioShock, less Dead Space. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's definitely more BioShock than it is Dead Space. It's a good game. It's worth playing, but it's not one of those games that you're going to turn around and replay multiple times in succession. It's one of those things you'll play through, you'll beat, and maybe you'll go back to a couple months down the road.
Yeah,
But that being said, it's a game that you can go back to and play again. It's not like a one and done, wow, I shouldn't have wasted my money type game.
Yeah, and I'm not one to really revisit games. Very rarely I do it. Dead Space is one of the few ones in recent times that would do that with the series. Is play the New Game Plus, but especially Dead Space 3, I like the whole crafting thing and coming up with better weapons. You know, so it's easy. I kind of wanted to switch gears, and I'm like, yeah, Prey looks like something different. You could fill kind of a void, you know. So we shall see. I'm also YogiZilla on Twitter. Hit me up. Play some games. And on Battle.net, YogiZilla pound 1722, I think. Something like that. So we play some Hearthstone or whatever. And that's it. That's all I got. I think it's time to hit the hay. Gotta get up early. And we still got time to spare.
Like 1 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing still awake?
I know, right? I think we might have to just officially start doing these earlier. But then I feel bad doing it too much earlier because then Warchild usually can't get off work and get home by like the earliest he gets home is maybe like 11. So we'll find a sweet spot.
Maybe him and I can just start our own podcast without you.
Damn, that's rough.
Or you can just pass the torch off to us a couple times. And if we fail miserably, you can just come back and say, nah, fuck you guys. This is mine again.
Yeah, I could. I thought I sent you the broadcasting codes and the overlays and all that. We'll talk offline later.
I got those. Don't worry. I just don't have time or energy to press go live.
I get it. Well, folks, thanks for joining us. And hopefully next week we'll have more than a one-man show. Hopefully Beard will join us. Hopefully Warchild. Maybe some other folks too. So we'll see. Crossing your fingers, right? And,
I'll try.
And also, I'll have the taint of Destiny 2 on me by then, so I apologize in advance. I have no willpower.
How dare you?
I know. I'm terrible. See you next week, folks. Bye.
Bye.